Yo, mic check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Semen retention. You are listening to Semen retention. Yeah. Hold it in, brother. Hold it in. Semen retention. Yo, and welcome back to Semen retention. Hope you're all having a great time. Welcome to the second official live stream. This streaming setup is just getting a bit smoother and smoother the more I go on this. So we're going to be in for a good one tonight. I'm going to be talking about why semen retention turns you into a king. I'm rocking the full shaved kind of look tonight. Just I've been having this mustache goatee type of aesthetic thing going on for a while now, and I'm like, let's start summer a bit more fresh. Let's just go clean shaved, nice. It's easy to maintain, all that kind of stuff as well. Anyway, so I'm going to be talking about a couple of topics in today's live stream. Just before we get into the topics, I just want to shout out to all the live streamers and posters of the semen retention community. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. It's really good to have this, this positive cycle of retaining these energies and legitimate people on semen retention that are sharing their knowledge and their experiences to everyone. It doesn't matter if someone is on a less streak than you. It doesn't matter if someone's on more of a streak than you. I think what we're doing here is we're creating an atmosphere. We're creating a full-on vibe that allows us to, really help men. And I think that's a great thing. And not only are we going to be helping men in the process, but women as well will also benefit from this. Kids will benefit from this. Animals, the whole planet, everything is going to benefit from men that eventually decide to give up these lower level kind of carnal desires and go on this path, this brahmachari path, this path towards God, this path towards becoming a pure type of spirit, right? This is the way we were designed to be. We were designed to be people that were in touch with nature. We were designed to be people that were in touch with animal and, all this kind of stuff as well. And that's why retention is so important. So today I want to talk about a couple of topics. The main one today is peacocking. So I don't know if you guys know what peacocking is, but we're going to get into it. But I just saw a few things happen recently, and they made me laugh, they made me smile. And it's that kind of thing that I understand that people do this because they're trying to attraction. They do get the attention, but they don't get the attraction. So there's a big difference between attention and attraction, right? I want to just firstly start off by saying that, right? The difference between attention is directing energy towards something, right? If I put my attention right on the webcam, I direct my energy right towards the webcam and I'm paying full attention, staring down the barrel of the webcam. That's my attention. I'm directing energy. Whereas attraction is guiding energy towards something. Something's pulling towards something. Attraction is like it's magnetic. It's got a gravitational pull to it, right? So it's not directing. It's not being forced. It's not forcing something. It's guiding it. You know, it's welcoming it, right? Welcoming something towards its auric field or towards its being, right? So if you think about attraction, usually it's effortless. Okay, usually attraction is something that is just something that it kind of grows over time, like a plant or a flower or a vegetable in their garden, right? It's like the flower doesn't bloom straight away. We don't look at the flower in full bloom after we plant it first out of being a seed, right? It takes a full season, it takes multiple seasons, maybe it takes multiple years to eventually get to the point where that actually fully blooms and then becomes an attractive being or an attractive spirit or whatever it is, an attractive environment, right? I know that my kind of setup right now, my live stream setup, I've got the audio down pat, but I haven't really got the visual thing down pat. And just as a personal kind of note, is that I need to work on making the level of, you know, vibes in this room a lot more attractive. Anyway, so we're going to get into what peacocking is. So let's have a look at some clips that just explain what I'm kind of going with when it comes to peacocking. Okay, so yeah, this is get into a bit of a story in a second, but so turn off this. So yep, there we go. Okay, so what is? Let's have a look.
Maybe these examples of peacocking will.
Why does Dev have to wear that bright shirt and walk around the office talking and laughing loudly? It's obvious that he's peacocking, but to me, he's just annoying.
When we first met, I was impressed by John's flashy clothes and constant jokes. But he was obviously peacocking because now he just wears jeans and never says anything funny.
Skills would work wonders on our blind date. Unfortunately, she told me I was just showing off and I just needed to be myself. I don't think I'll be seeing her again.
You're listening to the English We Speak from BBC Learning English. We're talking about peacocking, which describes someone showing off to attract attention and impress people.
Originally, it described an extreme and over-the-top way a man might dress and the arrogant way he might behave to attract a woman.
Yes, I can see why you would have been good at that, Rob.
Well, women do it now too, Feifei. For example, by bragging on Instagram about the amazing things they've done.
Okay, it seems like anyone can be guilty of peacock days.
Well, you'd never find me peacocking, Feifei. I'm not the sort of person to show off. I hate to attract attention.
What do you mean, Rob? You're always the centre of attention.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
The English We Speak
from the BBC.
Hi everyone, we hope you enjoyed that video and thank you very much for watching. We have so many more just like it.
All right, so what we figured out there is basically peacocking can be like kind of showing off your lifestyle. It can be showing off how you dress in public. It can be putting on a persona, right? Because a peacock as a bird He is very flamboyant. It expresses itself. It really spreads out all of its feathers. But to give peacocks the benefit of the doubt, that's how God designed them, right? I'm not going to be going out here and saying peacocks should hide their feathers in their tails, you know, like they should never open themselves up. No, that's important. I think everyone should express their natural selves. That's important. But when it comes to, you know, being in public, I think what's attractive is a natural way of being that you can be on a consistent basis. So it doesn't look like you've suddenly just got a haircut, suddenly you shaved off your beard, suddenly you just change what you dress, suddenly you get a full arm of tattoos, suddenly you get a whole new setup and blah, blah, blah. It's not like a shock to people's system. It like makes sense that this person has gone on an evolution and that's where they're going, right? But in general, what I've found is when you're on retention, you don't need to do any of that glitz and glamour kind of stuff. You don't need to put yourself into that like real showing off type of frequency. I think a lot of people try that are inexperienced or they don't have much luck in the world. They try and really, compensate. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you this funny clip that I saw on my Instagram shorts or Facebook reels or whatever it was. And it just showed this guy who was on this popping balloon type show. And he just completely missed the mark with these ladies straight off the bat. So we're going to play it. And I'm just going to kind of click and react to show you why this guy, when he peacocks, he's completely failing and falling into an oblivion. It's pretty funny. Let's have a look.
For his queen. Okay, he's checking him out too much. Come on, my man. Welcome, all welcome. How you doing, kind sir?
I'm excellent.
Wonderful. Take a step back for me, just this way. Perfect. Welcome to a real one. Would you share with these lovely ladies your name, your age, and what you do?
Can I start with, it's nice to meet you, dude. I like your stuff.
Thank you.
This is so cool.
And it's nice to meet these lovely ladies, too. So tell them your name, your age, and what you do.
I'm Faraz.
Keep the mic at chin.
My bad. I'm Faraz. I'm a content creator. Like improv comic is my main gig. I do other stuff, too. I'm a big hustler, half Persian, half Mexican.
Okay, let's just pause it there real quick. Okay, this is pretty funny, right? So this guy asked a simple question, backtrack just a little bit, and what he said at the start.
How you doing, kind sir?
I'm excellent.
Wonderful. Take a step back for me this way. Perfect. Welcome to a real one. Would you share with these lovely ladies your name, your age, and what you do?
Can I start with, it's nice to meet you, dude. I like your...
Okay, he asked him, what's your name, your age, and what you do? And then straight off the bat, he ignores the question. And then he's like, I like your style, blah, blah, blah.
Thank you.
This is so cool.
That is nice.
That's cool. You know, it's cool to give a compliment and stuff like that. But it's the more he speaks, the more we figure out it's just overcompensating and just looking like an absolute idiot.
To meet these lovely ladies, too. So tell them your name, your age, and what you do.
I'm Faraz.
Keep the mic at chin.
My bad. I'm Faraz. I'm a content creator. Like improv comic is my main gig. I do other stuff too. I'm a big hustler, half Persian, half Mexican, 31 years old. And I get paid to make people laugh.
Keep the mic at chin.
That's very unique about me. That's a fact.
So he's gone off. He's, all he needed to say is, I'm Faraz, I'm 31 years old, I'm a comic and a content creator. That's literally all he needed to say. And then now he's going on a tangent before they even get to the second question. Act.
Beautiful. What would you say?
So he's like, I get paid to make content and that's a fact and stuff. He's really forcing it. And this type of stuff is just real cringe behavior, right?
You a real one.
I'm from LA. I'm half Persian, half as real as
Keep the mic at chin.
So he goes and says that the reason why he's a real one, because the show's called A Real One. The reason real one is because he's from LA and he's half Persian, half Mexican or something like that. And that's as real as it gets. I think that's a pretty arrogant, just dumb thing to say.
Real as it gets right there.
Beautiful. Oh,
and that girl straight away, she's out.
Okay. Share with us this.
That scared me.
So, hey, they pop or whatnot. Now, share with us this. What are you looking for in a real one?
Like qualities or
qualities? Well, both, really. What you have the right to both.
I like Filipino baddies. I don't know if anybody.
That whole thing, look, to be honest, the the lineup here isn't really amazing, but to this guy's personality, he doesn't really deserve anything here anyway. Like, he just seems like a super cringe dude.
Here is Filipino, but
They're-
I'm a Filipino baddie.
So,
Okay.
Everyone has preferences, you know?
But does that mean you're going to discriminate against the other queens? You're
No,
open
I
to
love
all.
flavors, but everyone else's.
That's very true. Okay. Any other things you're looking for? Maybe qualities or stuff from
You
the
have
heart?
to be.
I've noticed as well, just this guy's body language. He really moves a lot, and he tries and, like, you know, gets really kind of animated and over the top, just with the way that he gives me Kuma energy. Like, he gives me a guy that just before he got on here, nervous, and you know, he had to de-stress and have a little coom the night before.
Sociable, loyal, pure-hearted. Can't be a scammer or something. Like, come on. You have to be right with God. Non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
Is this good enough?
Yeah, we'll keep it cool.
Okay, that little last interaction of, like, looking at the presenter and holding the microphone to his face and being like, is this enough? Like, that's just like the arrogance kind of thing. It's like he's drawing too much into himself. All he has to do is just keep the microphone there and, you know, just get on with it. Like, he's on a show, then he clearly wants to promote himself. Like, if you go through this whole episode, I think they all end up just like kicking him out. Like, no one wants this stuff. Let's just get to the ending.
Not really, but she's pretty.
Okay. Well, do you think you came out with a certain energy?
It wasn't a connection based off
So
of
this
your
girl,
answers.
this girl here, she was the last one with the balloon, and she seems like the most kind of level-headed person on the whole lineup. She seems like a kind of normal lady or whatever, and she's, you know, when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, she seems like someone that you go on a date with and get to know, not necessarily be like a hunt-to-wear if you weren't and stuff, but like, yeah, in this regard, this guy had a chance with this lady and he completely like screwed up.
If he came with a different energy, could he have been your type?
It could have been someone. Yeah, I don't really discriminate on the height necessarily. I do got heels on, but you know, but I don't discriminate on the height or really race and ethnicity or background. So yeah.
Is she someone that's your type?
So this funny thing is that like this whole episode is like it's like a plus size version. So that's why you notice like most of the females on this lineup, or if not all of them, are like plus size or whatever. And when I was watching this episode, it was like half of them were like content creators, and then the other half were just like kind of with day jobs or like, you know, normal passions and stuff. But like this is like the more level-headed one on the lineup. And he had a chance, and he's like fluffed it because he came in with this kind of cocky energy when it's just like, dude, like the peacocking that he did. And as I said, when we watched that first video, it's not about peacocking, isn't necessarily about what you wear. Like this guy, what he's wearing here isn't bad. It's kind of just, it's pretty chill. Like it looks like the guy likes to have a beach or something like that. But his energy, that peacocking energy of like, you know, being over the top, you know, overcompensating because you have some sort of like disease or some sort of insecurity and stuff like that that's holding you back. When you're on semen retention, you don't have any insecurities about yourself, because even this lady said here, she's like, yeah, look, I'd definitely go on a date with him. Like, I don't discriminate because he's short. I can see here, she's like just an eye level above him in terms of height goes, but she wasn't going to discriminate against him about his height, and she doesn't discriminate about, you know, the color of his skin or anything like that either. But this guy completely screwed it up because he's trying too hard, and like he's projecting his energy.
Not really, but she's pretty.
Okay.
See, and then he does a little coat here at the end where he's like, oh, my type, because his type was like, he said, quote unquote, Filipino baddie is what he said. And I'm just like, yeah, look, like future passport bro. So, yeah, my balloon's popping for him. He's definitely a Kuma. All right, let's end this one. All right, sweet. Let's move on to another reason why you shouldn't peacock, and this would just be a funny little video just to show. I just think that it's like, this is, I'm going to give you a little backstory behind this video that I filmed, but this guy is given the same energy of the dude that lives in my neighborhood who rides one of these one-wheelers. And I don't have anything against one-wheelers. I think they're cool and all that kind of stuff, but there's like a certain like archetype that rides these one-wheelers. They're definitely like a look at me kind of person. And this guy, he came into this skate park where I was playing basketball at, and he was like zipping around and like going fast and like flying around on his one-wheeler. And he comes in really like big. His entry into this skate park was like so grand. Like he made the whole like, you know, the music from his one-wheeler and his backpack or whatever, like blasting out loud when he zipped in, so that everyone's looking at him. Okay, this is number one sign of peacocking. Yeah, so everyone's looking at him as he zips in, and then he's there spinning around, going on the skate park, which you shouldn't do on a one-wheeler. Like, you're not designed to do skate, you know, ramps on a one-wheeler. I'm pretty sure they're not designed for that. So he was there for about 20 seconds, and I kid you not, this is basically what happened to him.
Thank you!
Got the attention, goes a bit faster, tries to do a trick.
There he goes. There he goes.
The deer cam flying out. Here we go, slow motion. Yeah, it's exactly like that. That was exactly how this guy stacked. And this guy had like a full-on shirt. He had like this weird haircut, like sunnies on, and it was glorious, the fail. And, you know, I can't help but feel when you're on semen retention, sometimes you're not like, you don't want to go out and bag people because that's like kind of low vibe type stuff. But like at the end of the day, I didn't have a problem with him one-wheeling. I didn't have a problem with him going to the skate park. I didn't have a problem with him playing music. It was an energetic thing, right? It was an energy that he forced into an environment. And this is why, you know, reading the room and peacocking are like hand-in-hand type subjects, right? If you were on stage and you've just sold 15,000 tickets to your show, and you start your opening number and you're wearing this costume or whatever, that makes sense, right? You're being larger than life because you've got to project yourself to 15,000 people. If you were inside someone's living room and there was 2 people there, you're not going to rock up in a massive costume that fills the size of the living room. So that's what reading the room is about. That's why retainers also don't have to peacock, because it's just that kind of little dick energy type stuff that, you know, a lot of guys, they fall down this rabbit hole of trying to, like, you know, overdo it and all that kind of stuff. And it gets pretty cringe. But that's in a nutshell, that's what peacocking is. And also it turns you into a target. And if you're already on SR, you already are a target when you're on semen retention, whether you like it or not. There'll be someone that is aware of what you're doing, and eventually the word's going to practicing this, and then everyone's lined up to watch you fall. Because the thing is that as soon as you start retaining, you start leveling up, and this is how you become a king. You start making better decisions for yourself. You start kind of rising through all the turmoil. You start, you know, climbing the ranks in your industries or whatever it is you're doing, and then, you know, eventually you get to the point where you are like literally one thread away from, you know, your throne being taken. Like, you just started building this whole life. You started building your own kingdom, but you are one small slip away from you being taken out. And I forget who it was, but I think, there was someone in the industry that was talking about this Japanese proverb or some sort of, like, you know, classic, like, wartime art of war type of like concept, where they were saying this king used to sit in his throne, and above the throne was a sword that was hanging by a thread that was directly pointing down at him as he sat at the throne. And the whole concept behind that was him to feel like every time he was relaxing on the throne, there was always one little tiny chance that he was literally just going to be killed. And that's the way of a retainer, is that a retainer, you know, we should keep a low profile. And I know that I'm putting myself out here using, you know, my face on the internet, putting my face out on the internet, telling people about what happens in my life and stuff like that. And I'm not really necessarily keeping a super low profile and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, this is one of my callings. This is one of my callings. I've always been a teacher. I've always been someone that guides people into becoming, you know, whoever it is they're meant to become. And I'm very good at that. I'm very good at motivating people. I'm like, my personality type is about being a commander. I'm like the coach. I'm like the commander. I'm the one leading the ship, you know. So, you know, that kind of stuff is important. But, you know, I don't need to dress up and overly do it and all that kind of stuff and get into like a peacocking kind of mindset. That's where you make mistakes. So without getting into some kind of crazy topics, I want to talk about the whole cruise control / lazy lion method that I've talked about in the past. I made a video this year that was talking about the lazy lion method. And the lazy lion method to me is basically just like, you know, we all know that male lions love sleeping. Male lions like sleeping because it helps them, you know, regenerate. They don't need to go around hunting and stuff like that. The female lions will do that, the lionesses, right? And then the male just lies down and, like, you know, he's just chilling. Of course, to get to that point, the male lion had to get to some point of like going through the battles, fighting for dominance and all that kind of stuff. But he has worked himself up in the hierarchy of the jungle to get to the point where he can just lay down and relax. And that's what a retainer on a long streak will get to. It gets to a point where you start working your life up really well. You build the foundations. So actually, before you build the foundations, you've got to deal with the instant karma. Okay, we talk about semen retention penalties, which is a concept that a YouTuber called Alpha T brought up. Check out Alpha T on YouTube. He is the guy that invented the word semen retention penalties and clown retention. So I'm going to talk about semen retention penalties, right? Is that when you relapse or you release or whatever, like a person instantly gets punished by God. And it's from something as comical as a cat doing a poo on your kitchen, you know, stovetop, to getting a speeding fine, to, you know, getting humiliated by someone beneath you, someone that's on a low frequency, lacking confidence. All these things, they're all penalties. These are the penalties that you face. And sometimes they're extreme, sometimes they're minor. But the point is, you have to pay the penalties because you came in with awareness that you were conjuring this purified spirit that was on this pathway of enlightenment and getting all the benefits of semen retention. But then once you got the attraction from the female and you released or something like that, or if you watched online media, which I haven't done for a long time, if you did all that and you released that way, you're going to get punished hard, right? So the point is that in your first stage of semen retention, you're doing all this kind of karma cleansing. Yeah. So eventually when you realize that I'm not going to do that again, you go on a really long streak. So when I hit probably maybe 60 days was my longest streak before I went on a really long streak. Okay. So I think what constitutes a really long streak is half a year. I think 6 months is a perfect amount of time to understand what actually living a lifestyle of semen retention is. And then I went on for 15 months. So I nearly made it. A year and a half. But I didn't. So at the end of the day, during that year and a half of retaining, I not only cleansed the karma of all my mistakes and, you know, all this kind of stuff that I had going on, I also ended up, I ended up like building a foundation for my new life. I ended up building a really strong, like career-based foundation that allows me to generate a lot more money than I ever have. And now what's going on is I've got to the point where I have generated that foundation and I can relax. So here comes the lazy lion method. So the lazy lion method is I've set up these systems and I've set up these kind of networks in place where I don't have to lift a finger. I literally lie on the couch all week and answer phone calls when I feel like answering the phone calls. And if it's too early for me to want to talk to the guy that books my gigs, then I ignore the phone call. You know, if it's too late for me to talk to the guy that wanted me to fill in for a gig, then I just don't answer it. Because I already know that, like, I'm already so respected and my reputation has already gone up so much that what I provide is now quality. And that is a direct result of semen retention, is that purification and that building of quality. Not only, you know, it's so within, so without. It's, you know, as above, so below type philosophy, is that you're actually building the quality of sperm inside you when your sperm goes through spermatosis or spermogenesis or whatever it is, which is the maturation of your seed. So after 90 days, your seed begins to mature, and that maturation is what's going to create a really healthy baby, or it transmutes up your spine and goes into your brain, which helps with your, you know, your immunity and all these other functions and minerals within your body. It helps replenish them. So that's all part of this process of semen retention. And in my life, it is also replicated where I am choosing to only associate with certain people within the industry and disassociate from other people, because I'm maturing with my decisions. I'm maturing with all these kind of outlooks. I'm maturing with, you know, my energy. I don't think that I have to work every single hour of the day. I'm no longer of the mindset that just because there's 7 days a week, I should be earning money on, you know, 5 of them. Now I've gotten to the philosophy where it's like, what if I earn money on just 4 days a week? What if I can get it down to 3 days a week next year, but like it's really, you know, generating high income? And so that's like that's the maturation effect. That's the lazy lion method, because the lion, being the king of the jungle, like, has everything else working out for him. He knows that, you know, the ants and the worms are going to fertilize the soil, and then from the soil the cows or the, you know, the birds are going to eat the insects, and then from the birds that are in there, they're going to be hunted down by the cats, and then the cats get hunted down by the go forth, blah blah blah, the hyenas, and then the hyenas get hunted down by this, and then blah blah blah, and then it builds up, and then finally you've got like the gazelle, and then the gazelle, you know, it gets killed by the lioness, and then the lioness brings the carcass of the gazelle to the lion king, and the lion gets to eat. But the lion king is, you know, he's an alpha male. Like the lion king, he has to protect the whole jungle. He's got to keep the balance at bay. He's a patriarchal type figure where he is defending his minions, i.e. the lionesses, from, you know, another threat of another lion. So you need, you know, the strongest one at the top to obviously take control. So anyway, that was a bit of a tangent about that, but I guess you know the point. The point is that the lazy lion method, it works. We don't have to constantly work ourselves like into exhaustion. But the good thing about semen retention is that we can work harder and harder and longer, and then we get smarter and smarter, and our energy gets more pure and magnetic. and then all these opportunities start like flying towards us and generating more income and generating more happiness and more purity and more like air to breathe, and then we're swimming through the water, and then we're just flowing through life like a beautiful song. And like I think that's like the best part of semen retention is understanding how effortless and organic everything's just going to work out for you. And I think that's why it turns you into a king. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. If you're watching the replay, let me know how you're going. You've been watching Semen Retention. Yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Catch you guys.